Crawford. I'm the Richmond Conservation Program Manager for the Virginia chapter of the Sierra Club. And I'm also here representing People of Faith in my role as co-chair of Virginia Interfaith Power and Light. And here is my co-MC.
What's up, everybody? My name is Harrison Wallace. I'm the Policy Coordinator and Coastal Campaigns Manager for the Chesapeake Climate Action Network. All right, now, as y'all know, the Water Board is set to meet here in Richmond to decide on whether to approve or deny the water permits for these pipelines. What do y'all think they should do? Are y'all tired? I can't hear you. What do you think they should do? There we go. As many of you know, the Atlantic Coast and Mountain Valley frac gas pipelines present the most environmentally dangerous projects in Virginia in decades. So what we need to do is stand here to send a message to Governor McAuliffe, Governor-elect Ralph Northam, all of our public officials to protect our water and stop these pipelines. So since this is a rally, I want to get y'all started with a little chant. When I say protect our water, you guys say stop the pipelines. Can you do that, Matt? Yeah! Okay. Protect our water. Stop the pipeline. Protect our water. Stop the pipeline. Protect our water. Stop the pipeline. There we go. All right, y'all sounded ready. I'm going to pass it over to Kendall real quick, and we're going to get to our speakers.
So before we really get started, I just want to thank every one of you all for showing up today. And woo, yes, give yourselves a round of applause. Yes. And thank you also to the many partners who are critical in making this event happen today. So, as I said, it's so exciting to see so many faces out in the crowd. And I'm just wondering, I know I still claim the 757. Hampton Roads, are you here? Let me hear you. Okay, solid. So, how about Southwest Virginia? Okay. Shenandoah Valley, let me hear you. Okay, Northern Virginia? Okay, Eastern Shore. Anybody from the Eastern Shore? Yeah! And last but not least, Richmond area. Okay. And the border county of West Virginia. Yes. Central Virginia! Yes! Buckingham County! Roanoke! So it sounds like we have the whole state represented here today, and that is something very special. So we're going to go ahead and get started. One of the things that I know that drives me to be very passionate about this work is environmental justice, which is why I'm so thrilled to be able to introduce our first speaker today. Our first speaker is Reverend Paul Wilson, and he is a community and faith leader in Buckingham County, a tireless voice for environmental justice.
I wish I could see this many people on Sunday morning. Yes, but I thank God that I'm here, and our folk from Buckingham, Virginia, and we are on the direct path of the proposed Atlantic Coast Pipeline, and both of our churches are located at ground zero. That means within the 1 mile range of the proposed compressor station for the Atlantic Coast Pipeline, and that's Buckingham County, Virginia. Now I only get just a few minutes, so I wrote down a few things that I just really wanted to talk about. And I guess all of you know that I'm a pastor, and there are so many people say that pastors need to remain in the pulpit, and that's only part of what we do. And but I'm here to represent the faith community, and just wanted to say a few things. First of all all of us know that we do not need the pipelines. We do not need the compressor stations. I think the foremost thing that I really wanted to put out to you is that the answer should be no, because it puts our water in jeopardy. In jeopardy. There is no entity, no business has the right to infringe upon water, air, environmental concerns, and things that deal with our land. No one. No one. So much of this stuff is driven by financial gains, the financial vicissitudes of life. The cost in human lives and injuries, leaks, ruptures, and spills far exceeds the cost of all of these financial incentives that big businesses claim. We need to continue to look at the bigotry and the supremacist thinking attitudes, and these things must be eradicated from the American psyche. Because, thank you, because unlike the so-called trickle-down economics effects, these things, or these attitudes, trickle down into our public policies, resulting in social and economic injustices that has a disruptive and disproportionate effect on the masses. And these policies need to be eradicated, for they affect people of every religion, every race, every ethnicity, and it also goes against what it is to be American or just to be human. Our country has lost its moral foundation, and the ethics with a moral and religious foundation to our thoughts and to our actions. The whole pipeline situation, all of the things that drives what our country seems to be moving towards is all based about money. Everybody say money. And I don't know about you, I need some money. But I don't live for the love of money. And money seems to justify so much of what big business is doing. Well, okay. And we're being reduced to just being Republicans versus Democrats, left versus right, color versus color, rich versus poor, urban versus rural, have versus the have-nots, and the dictates of money and power and greed over the welfare of mankind. And so I believe that it is rural America that's going to really bring about a change in what's going on in America. And it's people like you, people like us that will usher in that change. Again, we need to have a moral fiber, and we need to have a moral consciousness of the direction that we should be moving in. I certainly thank you for my 3 or 4 minutes of time. God bless.
Give it up for Pastor Paul one more time. All right. Our next speaker is a landowner and community activist from Big Mouth, organizing against the Mountain Valley Pipeline. Give it up for Mary Beth Coffey.
I cannot do too many motor skills at once. Thank you all for being here. April 2016, a time that should have been cause for celebration. Our last mortgage payment. Our homestead was finally ours. But any sense of celebration was soon followed by heartache when we received an easement offer from MVP. But this was not our first communication with MVP by any means. We have been resisting this menace since 2014. We have resisted survey trespass since 2015. For more than 3 years, our family and others like us have fought fiercely against this threat. Currently, we are being sued for condemnation. Our Our little farm is on Bent Mountain, a rural, forested, farming, and historic community in southwest Virginia. The forests, fields, bold streams, and trails there offer recreation as well as solace. We are privileged to be responsible for the land we cherish. We have been members of this all-mountain community for over 30 years. This is where we raised our sons. This is where we intend to grow old together. This proposed pipeline would completely bisect our property. It would be less than 300 feet from our house and well. Obviously, this would make our home unlivable. But MVP offered recompense by way of an easement offer, an insulting easement offer. How can you place a price on a family's life? Well, MVP can. It's $7,000. $7,000 is in no way fair remuneration for ruining our home, our water, and our lives. That easement offer was a gut punch. We would surely have no choice but to move, but after we're gone, what's left? Not only a homestead devastated, but a landscape and waterways forever changed, desecrated, and ruined. This pipeline would snake its way 303 miles through similar scenarios. In our scenario, Bent Mountain and Poor Mountain, the pipelines threaten watersheds that provide thousands of people with fresh water. It would violate the purity of the pristine Bottom Creek, which was designated as Tier 3 waters of exceptional quality by none other than the Department of Environmental Quality. My husband and I moved to Bent Mountain following a flood in 1985 that devastated the Roanoke Valley and surrounding communities. Our house was swept off its foundation and was a total loss. This flood of '85 taught me a healthy respect for the power of water. And now, with the threat of a 42-inch natural gas transmission pipeline plowing through the watershed of Bent Mountain, my respect for the power of healthy water has deepened. This 42-inch behemoth that twists its way across the steep slopes of Bent Mountain would cross many waterways, farms, and homes. And I say would because there is no way that it will. We have stayed and delayed this pipeline. We will stand strong. We will stand in solidarity. We will defeat these pipelines. Thank you.
Let's give it up again for Mary Beth. So our next speaker is David Sly. He is a former senior engineer for the Department of Environmental Quality and also co-founder of the Dominion Pipeline Monitoring Coalition.
Thank you. We're here about water and pipelines, but at the most basic level, we're here today to call for justice. Justice in the treatment of people and communities who would be hurt by the Mountain Valley and Atlantic Coast pipelines. Justice for landowners and all who depend on and treasure Virginia's waters. Justice for nature, and justice for citizens who rightly expect their government to be open and honest and serve the public interest, not favor narrow interests of profit-making corporations. The McAuliffe administration has betrayed our trust and proposes that the members of the State Water Control Board follow its lead. DEQ has used flawed and incomplete information and analyses and recommends the Water Board issue Clean Water Act certifications that violate the law and abandon basic scientific standards that should guide their decisions. DEQ claims there's reasonable assurance that water quality standards will be met. There is no assurance, reasonable or otherwise. The Water Control Board, seven of our fellow citizens who hold the awesome responsibility to uphold the law and protect all of us, is now our last resort in state government. We must hope and trust these board members listen to our voices, heed the evidence, and obey the law. The water quality certifications for MVP and ACP must be rejected. And DEQ must be ordered to start again, and this time to resist the pressures and undue influence exerted on the agency, pressures to which they have so far surrendered. To refuse to move forward with new recommendations to the board unless and until all pertinent information is incorporated into these regulatory reviews. This is all we ask. It's all we need. Water quality cannot be fully protected if these projects go forward. We know that. That is a fact. It has been confirmed by the mountain of scientific evidence the people have brought forward, and even by agency scientists who themselves have pointed out the dire risk and threats until their words were swept aside by agency management. We know that fair evaluations will result in rejection of these pipelines, and we trust honest appraisals and open processes, and that's all we've ever demanded. The Clean Water Act reserved to states the authority to veto bad federal decisions, and that's exactly how justice is supposed to be delivered to states and citizens. Instead, our state government, our public servants, propose to cede their rightful authorities to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, two organizations who have a long history of rubber stamping whatever industry proposes. The fates of these pipelines can be determined by our state authorities. They must rise to the occasion and refute the governor's repeated claims that it's out of his hands. Their powers are limited. The next 2 weeks may be the most crucial times for Virginia's environment in our generation. The damages to our waters would be of greater scope and magnitude than those caused by any project since modern environmental laws were adopted. That is why there's been an uprising of Virginians like we've never seen before. And we will not stop. We will not yield. Justice, that's what we expect. That's what we demand. Thank you, and let's continue the fight.
All right, y'all, how you feeling? Are you ready to stop these pipelines? All right, before I introduce our last speaker, I just want to give a shout out first to the 13 delegates who refused Dominion's money and won elections this year. One of them's in the crowd, Delegate-elect Jennifer Carroll Foy. Please give a round of applause for her. And I know some people stepped outside the aisle to help us in the past, and Delegate Villanueva was joining us today, so I want to give a shout out to him too. So at this point, I want to introduce our final speaker. He's an all-around awesome pipeline fighter representing the 11th District, Delegate Sam Rasool.
My name is Sam Rasool, and this pipeline comes right through my water source. Don't touch my drinking water. You know, he just mentioned there were 13 great candidates who won, but we have a couple of awesome candidates who fought really hard throughout the Shenandoah Valley against ACP. Let's give it up for Angela Lynn and Brent Finnegan, who are in the crowd. There's Angela right here. You know, I don't know if any of you have ever visited Salt Lake City. Has anybody? It's a beautiful place to visit. And I was riding around Salt Lake City and looking at just how beautiful and serene it is until I got to one part in the view shed. And it's the old copper mine. And it hit me right then and there. Boy, this is what's going to happen to the Roanoke, Shenandoah valleys, and so many other places. Our view shed, our environment is going to be raped by these two pipelines. And it hit me, boy, this is tough. Not only is this going to hit my direct water source, but what's going to happen to the area that I grew up in, that I call home. One thing that the American people hate is a bully. We hate bullies. And you know what? This whole country was founded against resistance to bullies. We first many of us came over because we were resisting those religious bullies. We wanted religious freedom. Many of us said, you know what, we're going to have a little Boston Tea Party because we're tired of being taxed by these bullies and not having a voice. Even the founders that helped to found the House of Burgesses and the House of Delegates behind us said, we are going to stand up to these bullies. You know, December 8th and December 13th can either be the beginning or the end. We can either be the end of this terrible process, which is going to take away so many of our resources, or it could be the beginning of a massive resistance. It will not be the end. Are you with me? So when I say protect our water, you say? Stop our pipelines. Protect our water. Protect our water. Protect our water. And so we shall. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Hey, I'd like to call Quan up to the stage to speak in a few moments. But first, a few announcements. I hope to see every one of you all back again on the 6th, the 7th, the 11th, and the 12th for the State Water Control Board meetings. Also, this upcoming Monday, we are having the Hey Dominion Move Your Ash rally. And that will be Monday at 12:15, held at Festival Park. We all know that coal ash is a toxic byproduct coming from the burning of coal. And the rally will immediately follow Dominion's coal ash assessment presentation to the State Water Commission on Monday. So hope to see all of you back very soon, next week and the week after. So let's give all of our speakers another big round of applause. And just thanks so much for taking the time out to share with us today. So now's our big moment. This has never been done before. Let's surround the Capitol grounds. Okay, so Quan is going to join us to give some additional instructions, but the general gist of this, hey Quan, the general gist of the situation is that we are going to move quickly while keeping ourselves safe. And we are going to line up around the Capitol grounds. We're going to make sure that we stay on the sidewalk, and we're going to link arms or use some blue fabric to link yourself to your neighbor. Now look out for the marshals who will be helping to guide us through this process. Can all of the marshals raise your hands? They're in the bright vests. They're very, very visible. Now, we've only got a few minutes to make this happen. Can we do it? Yeah! Great. Can we do it? Yeah! Awesome. Now, after we circle the Capitol, we'll be headed over to the National for the concert, and you'll be able to hear directions over the bullhorns to make sure that we all get there together and get there safely. And now to get to the National, it's right in that direction. We'll be headed down Grace, then 8th, and then turning left on Broad, and I think it's only a few. And also sidewalks, please stay on the sidewalks, only on the sidewalks. We don't want anyone to get hurt. And remember that we don't have a permit for outside of the Capitol grounds, so please be sure you stay on the sidewalks here as well. So let's do this.
Say hello to our Facebook Live. Hi, Facebook.
Save the world.
Getting ready to go on to surrounding the Capitol grounds. Meet some of our friends from Campus Road.
Talking heads go.
Oh, I need to find that. Hey, let's get 2 lines. One of them going to the right. Whichever way we go. Go this way. Go this way. Stay on the sidewalk. Stay. Go left. Go right. We should have 2 lines. One, and so we're going to split it. Go both directions.
Did not take the minions buddy. I usually go left. I guess I'll go right.
Yeah, sorry, I'm telling some of y'all to go right. Let's have 2 lines, one go each direction. On board with the pipeline issue.
I love it.
And
Well, she's coming our way.
did I change the first grade? What do we need?
What's going on outside?
We're here for some
Mention it as story about Lopez in the Washington Post. Follow up on his stand.
See what I posted about Alfonso? Did you see that? Did you see that?
It's great.
Yeah,
Go, man. See it. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, it's great. Oh, yeah.
so I did not make this sign. But
Two lines, some folks go left, some folks go right, so we make sure we have a line all around this building. Me.
I wish I knew that, like, a few lots
I know, like, we're trying to, like, split it up, yeah. Obviously, you don't want to split up your group. Get two lines, some folks can go left and some go right. Just try to split down the middle. If you must, hey, Brooke.